Since you're in the United States now, how do you see contemporary English films?
English language film?
Yes.
Indian,
Films
I mean
made
South
in the
Asian,
United States. No,
South Asians making English language film?
no,
No.
not
Oh, you're
necessarily.
talking American films?
Yes. Yes.
Hollywood films, British films, all that.
Yes.
Yeah, but well, Hollywood, of course, has always had a huge world market for their films from the very beginning. And they have what one might call a certain kind of ability to communicate themselves to world audiences by creating a certain kind of cinematic knowledge. Certain kind of cinematic language, which Americans have been using for a long time very successfully. They have an approach that is very direct, that cuts across language barriers. So you find that there is a particularly American style of filmmaking, Hollywood style of filmmaking, that communicates itself to people all over
Can you
the world.
mention a few names of?
Oh, any number of films. I mean, if you look at all the classic big films, costume dramas, epics, all of them.
But do you see classic films in the contemporary times anymore?
Oh, yes, you do. I mean, there are some very interesting
Like which
films that
ones?
well, you can say that certain kinds of films have become classics, like Star Wars, for instance. It's a kind of new mythology. A lot of Spielberg films, for instance.
James Cameron, would you?
Oh, yeah, James Cameron with the Avatar now has created another new mythology. Now, those kind of films are there, there are some quite extraordinary films. So they have, they are always, then there's also technology. After all, cinema uses it's a child of technology, and it grows because of technology. And when newer technologies come in, it extends its ability. Now, with each new extension of ability, the first place where it starts usually is the United States anyway. It goes to the rest of the world later. But the important thing is, when it comes to cinema itself, I personally think that technology is fine, but expression. Now, expression is cultural. The way you express yourself, you are expressing yourself culturally. One shouldn't forget that, because that is what makes you distinctive. You are distinctive because you have a cultural expression. Without that, you would just be faceless. You'd be faceless, nameless. But your own profile, cultural profile, comes through in the work you do, creative work you do. That's what I mean, and that, to my way of thinking, is very important to cinema, because you have the entire creative aspect of it. Like American films represent in many ways what that culture represents, in many ways. Outgoing, a kind of, let us say, in a certain kind of dominance that they have, cultural dominance. But then East Asians or South Asians like ourselves, we have a different way of expressing ourselves. And I don't see why we should be like Americans. We should be like ourselves.
Going back to Bengal, apart from Satyajit Ray, can you think of any other
Oh, any
directors?
any number. Now you have great filmmakers emerging in Bengal. Ritu Parno has been making excellent films. Aparna Sen makes very good films. Datta is a wonderful young man who's been making marvelous films over the years. Why am I forgetting his first name? He made this, he made an English film.
And there was one Bangladeshi director you mentioned, Alamgir
Yeah,
Kabir.
Alamgir Kabir made some has made marvelous films. Then also documentaries. There's that wonderful woman, I forget her name now, but who made
From
this.
Bangladesh. From Bangladesh.
From Bangladesh.
Who did a film on the
Yes,
workers.
on workers going to Malaysia, for instance. It was a beautiful film. We gave it the first prize at the South Asian Documentary Film Festival held in Kathmandu several years ago. And she's made many other films after that. There are wonderful filmmakers, both sides,
and actors as well?
Actors, yes, but you see, I don't know very much about actors from Bangladesh. The earlier generation, of course, there was this wonderful Babita from Bangladesh who acted in Satyajit Ray's film. But after that, I haven't seen too many actresses, because you see, we don't get that many Bangladeshi films in India.
There is one film that I wanted to ask you about, Satyajit Ray's Nayak by Uttam Kumar.
Yes, you see, Uttam was a big heartthrob in his time, and unfortunately he died fairly young, but otherwise he was probably the biggest star. But then, you know, I'm a great admirer of Soumitra Chatterjee, because this year he got the Dada Saheb Phalke Award, which is the highest award you can get for any film artist or director or anybody connected with films. Deserved it, because he is such an exceptionally fine actor. And you do have others too who are wonderful actors. But you see, I don't have enough knowledge about Bangladeshi actors, because we don't get to see too many Bangladesh films.